Yo, there's something beautiful about Bearcats basketball. High flying.
Kenyon with a jam.
Shot denying.
Miles rejected.
There's just an energy that comes with the Cats. A rich history built on toughness.
And Mick Cronin looks like he wants a technical.
A bring-your-own-lunch pail mentality. For a long time, UC was the hunted.
I felt that we couldn't lose.
I think it's time the Bearcats do a little hunting of their own.
Once y'all done with them, send them to me, man. You know what I mean? We can put them on the court. Keep that Bearcat thing going.
I am fired up.
Takes it all the way. Oh! It's going to be Little.
I wonder how Steve Logan would be over in Afghanistan or somewhere. I bet he'd be pretty poised. He just does not get rattled.
Van Exel, he'll cut it loose. Watch out. Stevenson cuts it about. Oh! Kilpatrick outruns everybody. Johnson, the exclamation point.
We've been dealt the king of heartbreak over and over again.
Rozier. Smith and
Everything they worked for was undone on one play.
But I see the light. The Cats are back. Lukosius, open three, got it! Oh, baby! Welcome to the only live Bearcats postgame show on YouTube. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. Yo, what is good, everyone? Chuck Walter here. We are going solo tonight on the Chatterbox Bearcats postgame show. Bearcats win over Alabama State 77-59. We got through the flying insects portion of the schedule. Very inspiring performance against Georgia Tech, against the Yellow Jackets, today against the Hornets of Alabama State. Out of my old stomping grounds in Montgomery, Alabama, it was not as inspiring. In fact, the Bearcats beat the Hornets by less than they beat the Yellow Jackets, by just 18 points in the game. Into the first half was ugly. Into the second half was ugly. There were some moments here and there. There was some high flying. There was some excitement. There were some threes. But just the overall takeaway, uninspiring performance. The day before Thanksgiving, you have time off. You have a weekend off before you go into Villanova and the schedule picks up. And Wes Miller was not having it. He was pissed. We got angry Wes Miller right now, folks. Overall, you can't have this coming into conference play. We all know that. You can't have a game where you turn it over against Alabama State. It was only 10 times. It felt like a lot more than 10 times. You out-rebound Alabama State by 17, yet I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're going up and down the box score, if you're a box score looker, it appears that you dominated this game. But there were some moments where Alabama State, especially to start the second half, it was a little too close for comfort. 13, 14-point game. You can't have that against a SWAC team, albeit a SWAC team that apparently should be near the top of their conference. But let's kind of break this one down, and let's start with the first topic, Angry Wes. Wes said at halftime, it stinks. He said it reeks. One of the great halftime interviewers at this point. You get him out there, and it's Kelsey Conway who draws the assignment. And now I know why Kelsey Conway is reporting on the opposition so much during the game. It's because Wes Miller is pissed. He doesn't want to talk whatsoever. And right after he says it stinks, it reeks, Conway follows up, and apparently she had the question ready to go with about 3 minutes left because she said, Day Thomas gave you a big spark, and he stopped right there. He was fuming at this point. He's getting ready to take off his jacket. He's like, you kidding me? Day sucked the last 4 possessions. His defense was an abomination. I can't find anything that we did well in the first. He was fuming. He was shaking. It's good stuff, man. I mean, that is why all Cincinnati coaches are, I mean, maybe not why they're successful, but they all have that in common, right? They're psychos. It's the psychometer. The higher up on the psychometer you are, the better of a coach you are. Huggins, Brian Kelly. You know, Tommy Tuberville was too tame. John, too tame. That's why they struggled. And Wes right now is done being Mr. Nice Guy. even to his players. It felt like he was the nice coach. I'm pissed off. Had a little, Scott all shucks in him the first couple of years. Not anymore. There was a boiling point last year where he said, what did he say? He said, we're coming. We're coming. Everyone was, at this point going nuts on Twitter. And Wes said, we're coming. And if you don't think we're coming, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be friends with you. And apparently Kelsey Conway does not think they're coming or something, because Wes is just fired up right now. He's starting to break bad from nice guy to a little Huggins in him. So good stuff all around there. And Dylan Mitchell, the curious case of Dylan Mitchell right now. Boy, does he affect the game. But boy, how are you going to play Dylan Mitchell down the stretch of the season? Final free throw numbers for him. Let's get this up. I don't think he made a single free throw. And it was Dylan Mitchell. How do we look? 0 of 5 from the charity stripe today. Let's get the numbers up. For the sake of the show right here, let's get the free throw numbers up. 0 of 5. He was 1 of 4 against Georgia Tech, was 0 of 2 against Nichols, 0 of 2 against Moorhead, 0 of 2 against Pine Bluff. This guy on the season is 1 for 15 from the charity stripe. 1 for 15. I'm a lefty. I could go with the right hand. I could go granny shot. I could go behind the back. I could potentially kick it. And make more than 1 of 15. So Dylan Mitchell, all the things that he does well for this team. I mean, when does Hacka Dylan come into play this season? If he cannot hit a free throw, and granted, I think he does have a decent stroke to where it's just the yips, has not figured it out. He's missing everything strong, but you need to get him in a gym right now, Coach Carter style. I don't care who shows up late, but he needs to hit about 7,000 free throws in a row before he's leaving. 50 push-ups after every free throw he misses. Then he'll start making them pretty quickly. But I mean, that's the bad from Dylan Mitchell. It's just the fact that late in the game, he can't be on the floor if this is the case. He is an automatic miss from the charity stripe. Now, I will say, Cats are doing a good job rebounding his misses, but you can't bank on that all season. You got to start hitting freebies. They're free for a reason. If the second grade team over at Cheviot can knock them down, then please, Dylan Mitchell, you're a McDonald's All-American. Just start sinking the free throws. With that being said, he changes everything. This dude may be our best player. Maybe not our best, but most important player. And that's what's so nice about this team is you can go like 4 dudes that are your best players right now. You could go up and down with, I wouldn't throw Aziz on there, although he does make a huge difference. 10 and 9 today for Aziz, 3 offensive rebounds. He's up there. He's in that, that top tier. But it's Mitchell, it's Lukosic, it's Jizzle James, and I think at some point it is going to be Dan Skillings as well when he gets back, obviously. But Dylan Mitchell, man, if he can just get his playmaking up to par with his athleticism, he's going to be a freak in a Bearcats uniform. And somewhat of a jump shot, he's going to be an absolute freak. The plays that he did go playmaking today with some nice spins and finishes, he makes it look easy. He gets above the rim effortlessly. His dunks are incredible. I am a huge Dylan Mitchell fan. The statistics back up that he's one of the most important players in the country. This would have been a good team without Dylan Mitchell. No doubt about it. But when he made that commitment in the transfer portal, you knew that this was kind of the cherry on top of the icing, which goes on top of the cake. The cake to start, the batter was getting that first recruiting class with the glue guy, Josh Reed, and with Dan Skillings. And then you add in the icing with Jizzle James, the freshman, and Simas Lukosic transferring in. And then, boop, we drop a little cherry on top, folks, and Dylan Mitchell. So we love that, man. Halftime, he's just cool. He's just a cool dude. Looks awesome in a Bearcats jersey. He's clowning all the time. Like him and Dan are kind of the clowns. Jizzle's just a badass. We have Euro Luco. We got Paige, who's kind of like the quiet enforcer, smiling, dunking, blocking Aziz Bandego. This team just has swagger. They're fun. And Dylan Mitchell is a big portion of that swagger. And I think he's going to get better as the season goes along. Took 7 shots in the game today. I'd love to see him take it to the bucket more. but 71% from the field today. I'm looking at the math right now and just adding it up in my head. He's like 80% from the floor this season. And he's, 6% from the charity stripe? I mean, the curious case of Dylan Mitchell. Good God. By the way, if anyone was wondering, Bunker Boy is back. Joe Lenardi already is sending out his bracketology before Thanksgiving, before Cincinnati's really played a team with a pulse. He has us as a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. So I'm thankful for being back. Let's run through the box score in this one. Bearcats shoot it from the floor. Wasn't bad, 44%. Their worst three-point shooting effort of the season at 32%. They turned it over 10 times, and I mentioned they out-rebound Alabama State, who's a much smaller team. You should out-rebound them by 17 points in the game. Cincy 4-10 from the free throw line. That's not going to get it done. And for any of you that are concerned that Dylan Mitchell may leave for the NBA early, because he does have an NBA skill set, no doubt about it. There's no chance. You are not getting drafted or picked up by any team if you can't hit a free throw. You become unplayable in the association. You saw it with Ben Simmons. I mean, it just destroyed the basketball player that he was capable of becoming. So Dylan Mitchell, got to figure that out, my guy. But we love Dylan Mitchell. We love a lot of guys on this team. 4 players, again, in double figures in the starting lineup. It's Bandego with the 10 and 9. He had a block as well. Dylan Mitchell, 10 and 8. Mitchell's averaging about 12 and 9 this season, close to a double-double. He's been so damn good. Simas, another struggle from the three-point line, 4 for 10. I mean, he was shooting 69%, so when you shoot 40, I guess it's a struggle, but this is who he is, fellas. He's a sharpshooter. I don't know if you saw this, but the Bearcats are actually – it's probably gone down now, but we were the number 1 most efficient field goal shooting team in the country, top 5 in three-point percentage. Titus Rubles walked, so Simas Lukosius could run, baby. Let's go. Lukosius, though, had 16 in the game overall. That's a team high. Also had 4 assists, 4 rebounds in the game. You know what Simas is going to give you. He's a player. Jizzle James, 13 points. He also has 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That guy's a gamer. Jizzle is a gamer. 5 of 9 and 2 of 5 from 3. What doesn't Jizzle give you? Off the bench, Day Thomas hits 3 3-pointers in the game for 9 points. Josh Reed has 6. Tyler Betsy hits a 3 early. He finishes with 5. Arrington Page has 7 points, which brings me to Arrington Page because he is going to be a very important piece to this year's team. They need some buckets down low. Aziz, you saw the post moves tonight. Aziz is who he is. He's a hell of a finisher when he's dunking it. Anything else, you don't really expect him to put the ball in the basket. So either Cincy is going to be a team that shoots at a very consistent clip, and that's how they win games. They shoot and defend. They get out in transition. They finish easy buckets. Or Arrington Page off the bench is going to have to give you somewhat of an inside-out presence. Again, it's 2024 going on 25. You can win games without having a big down low. But look at the last few years. Klingon, Zach Edey, Gonzaga dude, Drew Timme. I mean, bigs do help in the sport of college basketball. Back to the basket bigs. Cincinnati doesn't really have that right now outside of Page, who, I mean, in his limited minutes, 3 of 4 from the floor, had a couple of nice buckets, couple of blocks, 7 points, and a ferocious dunk. I mean, again, we want Dunkin' Donuts. If any of you all out there are franchise owners of Dunkin' Donuts, we'd love to be sponsored because we got the Dunkin' Bearcats on our hand. It's what they do. We didn't even see Dan Skillings today, once again, who is starting to run on the low-gravity treadmill, and the hope is that maybe you can get him back for Villanova or Howard. More on that in just a second. Connor Hickman today, 0 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3. You can't have that. And you thought maybe if Hickman's struggling, you can pull in CJ Frederick, and he's the guy that can spell him, and one of those two are going to knock down shots. But at this point, it looks like CJ Frederick is just someone that, is on the squad to play some minutes here and there, who's going to play hard, who's going to represent the city well, and hopefully who can get a national championship ring. Because when Dan Skillings is back, I don't know how you give him minutes. Just doesn't do much. I mean, you look across the box score, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, except for 1 3 that he missed in the game. So, and he was out there for a minute. So he's just not impacting the game negatively or positively for the most part. But I think this team just has too many players to give him serious run. And, if this was 2021, maybe a different story. Unfortunately, injuries are a part of life. Getting older is a part of life. And right now, it's just impacted the way that he could play basketball at this level. At least it appears. And you root for the kid, win a championship for the hometown guy. But I don't think he'd be playing in those high leverage games. But we'll see. A lot of season to go. Also saw Halvin, the Frenchman, hit his first shot as a Bearcat. Or did he? I thought he hit he hit a free throw. It says 0 on the box score, but definitely hit a free throw in the waning seconds of the game. The stroke looked all right, but again, I wouldn't expect too much from Halvin this season, even though Cincinnati does need some more size to really complete the team. This is where Tyler McKinley, who Wes Miller had said was phenomenal for a freshman, was better than expected this summer. This is where his torn ACL really hurts the team moving forward. But what's going to help is Dan Skillings. We talked about how Dylan Mitchell changes everything. Dan Skillings changes everything. He allows you to have either one of him or Mitchell in at all times. And those are the two players that just affect the game with their activity, with their length, with their just hands, man. Hands, the Inspector Gadgets. They're all over the place. They're athletes. They get boards. They get buckets. He's going to be a huge addition. Get him back before Xavier. If it's not Villanova, please be ready to go for Howard. But we need this dude bad. He's going to help balance the bench so much to where if Connor Hickman's not knocking down shots, I mean, Betsy's a freshman. At the end of the day, you can't rely on Tyler Betsy. Arrington Page still has a ways to go to being someone that you can rely on scoring on the block. Where's your points coming from? I know Day-Day hit some threes, did have some games last year where he was in the upper 20s, but him and Josh Reed, I mean, look, you're not platooning with this lineup right now. Add Dan Skillings in there, and all of a sudden you can get creative with the lineups. You can keep Jizzle James in from the first unit. You can do the hockey sub. Aside from that, maybe Dan Skillings comes in off the bench, and you got Jizzle, you got Dan, you got Page, you got Day-Day, and you have Tyler Betsy. And all of a sudden, that's like, whoa, we got ourselves a nice little bench here in Cincinnati. But maybe Wes, first game back, Dan Skillings inserted into that starting lineup for Connor Hickman, and that's the way it should be all season. We will see. I just find it hard to believe if he's not shooting it at a 35% plus clip from deep and is not keeping you extremely honest, then there's just not enough spacing with him, Mitchell, and Bandego in the starting lineup. Jizzle James, not really a lockdown three-point shooter yet, although the numbers say that he is having a pretty good season. Again, 40% today from Jizzle James from three, and his mid-range is lethal. But, man, 18-point win for Cincinnati, and we're still talking about how this was just an abomination of an effort. But it's a win. It's one you get on the bus, although you're at home, so you're not getting on the bus. It's one you go spend some time with the loved ones or with the team or whatever their plans are for the holiday season, and then you take some days off and get ready for the Villanova Wildcats in the Pavilion, who are not really having a good season. And we'll get into the upcoming schedule. We'll get into your comments in just a second, but I want to bring up Sean Abayev. Sean Abayev. If you guys have not seen this dude play, look him up right now. It's SHONABAEV. He's a 6'8", scoring small forward that will remind you instantly of Brandon Ingram. Just someone that's a bucket that can go out there and score 17 points in his sleep. He scored 40+ in the AAU tournament that he was playing in last week, or whatever circuit he was playing in last week. He's impressive. Announcers were comparing him to LeBron James. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he is a 5-star. He's a top 30 recruit in the country. I think he's going to rise with the way he plays, and he will be a instant impact player for whoever he plays for next year because he can flat out score. He can shoot it, and with his size, he's just going to be a day one freshman PTP, a diaper dandy. Commits tomorrow at noon Eastern time. All the crystal balls are in on Cincinnati, and one would think that he has already signed his letter of intent. Signing period was last week, excuse me. And with, Tipton, who makes all the graphics, crystal balling, and then everyone falling, you would think that that's kind of the move here. Expect yourself a blinking Bearcat at some point tomorrow, and a very, very, forget the stuffing, forget the cranberry sauce. The sweetest thing on Thanksgiving this year could be that commitment from Shauna Bay of a potential top 15 recruit in the country when they update these rankings. Go ahead and watch the guy right now. He's a stud, man. Wes Miller has it rolling, to say the least. One other point I wanted to bring up tonight, the Anthony Manzini, Terry Nelson rivalry is great. Kind of reminds me of myself and LaCure back in the day when he would just throw nonstop subtle jabs at me. Shut the hell up, Sam. It's the way I feel with Terry and Manzini. Although Manzini's, he's just taking it, man. He said he liked rolls. They were doing a Thanksgiving segment, and Terry just chimes in, "Oh, because you're soft." Get his ass, Terry. That's a Syracuse Orange guy right there. Like the broadcast partnership there, but it is turning into a little bit of a jab fest, which I love. Love a nice jab fest on the desk for sure. Schedule moving forward for your 16th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats. Kind of disgusted that I have to say number 16. This is a top 15 team, no doubt about it. The KenPom metrics back it up. But hey, we'll take what we can get after years of struggling. But the schedule looks as such for UC. They have, I don't care about Alabama State's schedule. You would think I did with the way the broadcast was going tonight, how much they were talking about that head coach and featuring him. I'm like, how many Alabama State fans are watching this? I mean, come on. This is a Bearcats broadcast. Act like it. Villanova is on the 3rd, which, doing my math correctly, I believe that is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Central, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. They have Villanova on the road. Then it's Howard. Then it's Xavier and Dayton. And Dayton has proved they are good this season with their performance in the Maui Invitational. But Villanova, man, that's the first team up, a former Big East rival. No more Scotty Reynolds, no more Mike Nardi, no more Alan Ray, no more Randy Foyle, no more any of those guys. I don't know anyone that plays for Villanova right now. I do know that their head coach is Kyle Neptune, and I do know that they stink. They used to be Villa Yesva. Villanova. They're not winning games this year. They have a loss to Columbia, St. Joseph's, a very average Virginia team, and Maryland. Their best win right now is against the Quakers of Penn. 7.5-point favorites, I think, to start for UC. They're projected by the ESPN analytics as a 66% favorite to win this game. In fact, I went through every single game, and UC is only projected to lose 3 games this season. So Fox Sports 1, Villanova on Tuesday. Enjoy the weekend with no basketball, but that will be the next game and the first big challenge of the season, we think, on the road against Villanova. Go ahead and spank them. Go ahead and spank them. And quite frankly, you know what this feels like, this Villanova game? It feels like, which game was it? Rhode Island in 2016, a game that Cincinnati lost. We had a good season. I think we beat Kansas State in the tournament that year and lost to Lonzo Ball in UCLA. But early in the year, we had a chance to kind of make a statement, beat a solid Rhode Island team. Now, I don't think Villanova's solid, but it's what waits next. If we would have beaten that Rams team, it would have been Duke that was up next in whatever tournament we played them in. This year, if we beat Villanova, then it's Xavier. And it's Xavier probably with a top 10 record. It's probably like the 18th ranked Muskies or 20th ranked Muskies if they win against TCU and Michigan. and then, a top 10 Bearcats team. And that would be an electric shootout. The last thing we want is to lose to Villanova and lose some of this momentum that we have going. And I know Wes in the locker room internally thinks that they lost a little momentum with the way they played in this game, and he is not wrong. By far their worst showing of the season in terms of just getting on the floor, really being dialed in from the get-go, which they were not. They took their foot off the gas. They did not cover the spread, didn't even come close with Alabama State making a little swarm late, coming back and making it a ball game late. So anyways, Thanksgiving tomorrow. I want to say I'm thankful for all you guys joining the program today. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. We go live after every game. Sometimes we'll go live with like 3 minutes left when it's super close and we want to react live on air with all you guys, a little watch party. And then other times when it's blowouts like this, it'll be within a minute or two of the buzzer going off. Just depends on how the technology is working, which, it's different every single game. But I am thankful for Wes Miller and this Bearcats team right now. As a 90s kid, I was spoiled. I grew up, the first athlete I remember in my life, the first three athletes were Sosa, Reggie Miller, Kenyon Martin. And Kenyon Martin was number one, and Kenyon Martin was in my hometown, which makes me, that's when I fell in love with the Bearcats. 1998, I think it was, as a 5-year-old. And the love has never waned. We struggled through years of Connor Barwin getting run and Jamal Warren as our starting point guard. And then we got a little tease during the Mick Cronin years where we had some good teams and had some big games, but weren't able to get over the hump. But the big thing that we've been missing all these years is A, the Jordan jerseys. Those are back. And B is this type of basketball where even when you don't play a clean game, a good game, you still score 77 points and have some magnificent plays. I mean, don't take for granted what Dylan Mitchell is doing out there with some of these throwdowns. Since James White, we haven't seen it. It's incredible. Take flight, young Mitch. Number 23 in the stat sheet, number 1 in our hearts. And Jizzle James, the way that he can penetrate, get his own shots, the quickness that he has. I mean, he took it baseline tonight and almost put in that reverse and one. That would have taken down any of Mitchell's plays from the night for most impressive. I mean, that was a Ja Morant NBA-like move. You wonder why I compare this guy to a young up-and-coming star like a Ja Morant. It's because he can make NBA-level plays like that. Quick on his feet, can soar, just such good awareness around the basket. Also has a great pull-up game. If he consistently can knock down that three, I mean, Jizzle James is an NBA talent. I've heard people say, oh, he's too short. Guess what? He's as tall as Ja Morant. He weighs more than Ja Morant. So I don't really know what to tell you with people saying that Jizzle's too short. I've also heard that he may be put on an inch this offseason, which is big time there from our guy Jizzle James. But I'm just overall thankful, everyone. We've waited a long time, and we have a chance to do something really special this year. Do it together. So Chatterbox Bearcats, audio podcast too. You can take us on the go there if you missed the live show. But if you ever want to vent after the games, if you're in the parking garage, stuck in traffic in Clifton, fire up YouTube, and either myself, Houdini, Eric Lilly, Nick Niehaus, the four of us, some combination will be here every single game. And Sean Abayev, when he makes his announcement tomorrow, we will try to get up on a Spaces on Twitter too, our first one, but we'll definitely be live on YouTube to break that whole commitment down. It would be the biggest commitment from a recruit to the Cincinnati Bearcats since DeMar Johnson. I mean, Yancey was huge too because the team was so bad, and I would say Yancey was probably the biggest because it was like a culture shifter. But I mean, this one's up there, man. This is a one and done type talent. Watch his tape and tell me that I'm over exaggerating. Not the greatest game in the world today, but we got it done. Let's pay our condolences to those of you in the chat. We got Gray Bush Live, who says that Wes said, thanks for showing up tonight, even though we didn't. Oh, God. No, Wes was pissed. Wes was pissed. I wish Houdini was at the game instead of being out at Mac's Pizza Pub for an early Thanksgiving dinner. Pizza for Thanksgiving, Houdini? Smart man. Turkey stinks. I said it. I'm a ham guy. But yeah, Wes Miller, not happy whatsoever, and wish Houdini was there in the post-game press conference asking him some questions to put a smile on his face. Wes, how good was Day Thomas today? You too? No. Had nothing positive to say, it sounds like. So, yeah, I mean, that's what everyone in the chat's saying. Horrible effort from the entire team on several aspects. Yes, it is a win, but man, we got Satterfield comments coming up. Don't want to talk about Scott Satterfield right now. 1 for 15 is complete ass. Yes, it is, from the charity stripe. You can't have that. You're going to have to work on your free throws. So, yeah, Jay, got to get better. Got to get better before you play the Xavier Musketeers. No doubt about it. 30 minutes on the dot. We'll take that as a post-game show solo. Still got it in me, folks. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name's Chuck Walter. Legal name Charles. Also go by Charlie. Just depends what you know me as. You could call me either or. My experience in the broadcasting realm, I worked in many markets. Ohio University grad, so not even a Cincinnati Bearcats grad, Cincinnati native, which makes me even more dangerous on the sticks because I'll say whatever the hell I damn please. There's no one to stop me. Eric Lilly's giving us the alum perspective. But that's the nice thing about this team and this program is just people from the city that didn't even go to the school or diehard fans that can recite off any game and UC history. And that's the way that I like to, break it down with you. But yeah, worked in TV in Lexington, moved out to San Francisco, covered Steph Curry and all them for CBS. Actually do the Locked On Warriors podcast right now every day of the week. So if you're a Warriors fan and you recognize me from there, yeah, that's why I do it. But Bearcats, the number one passion. We want to grow this thing, man. We want to KSR. I saw it in Lexington. Matt Jones worked at my TV station. I saw what he was able to do. Now, Kentucky, completely different fan base than Cincinnati. Don't get me wrong. Maybe a few more wild childs in those that live, breathe, and die. But Bearcats basketball lives, breathes, and dies when we're good. I mean, I just mentioned we were packing arenas for 9-seeded teams, whatever it may be. It's what we do, folks. We love our basketball. But yeah, so worked at CBS out there, covered the Warriors. And right now I'm just taking a podcast to the moon, hopefully. Thanks for joining us. Chatterbox Bearcats, everyone. We will do this after Villanova on Tuesday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in. And subscribe to the Audio Podcast. 5-star reviews right now, everyone. If you have your phone, it's a way to show appreciation to a streamer on Blackout Thursday, not going out with his buddies, instead staying inside to make sure that all of Bearcats Nation is up to date on their team, the number 16 team in the country. Peace, everyone.